Hi, Jim Ewing for ProVision Solutions Inc. and ProVision's Business Success. Thanks for joining us as we learn about some of the things that are necessary for success in business today. In this series, you'll learn from those who have experienced business. You'll pick up some great tips that will help you to succeed in your own business. Apply the lessons that are learned and pass them along to others.
Yes, I am Greg Gazin. Yes, I am the Gadget Guy, but I'm not all about gadgets. I am a technology columnist, small business and technology speaker, and I also help companies in promoting their businesses. So, technology, small business entrepreneurship, and presentations. I had a retail operation a number of years ago. I've also worked with a number of startups. I've done some consultancy, and I have an extensive background in writing.
What does business success mean to you?
I'm sure for most people, business success means just making it through the day. But I think business success will be dependent on your goals. What does it mean to me? I think initially it was probably to make a living. And I think that as time has evolved, and I have to admit I've done okay for myself, I think for me it's changing business so that it's no longer being a job to something that you certainly enjoy doing, and also making a difference in other people's lives.
What are the top things that contribute to success in business?
I think the first thing is, again, related to what we said earlier, was to set a goal and find out where you want to be. You need some metric, something to measure it by. Now, I know that you're a big fan of business plans, and to be perfectly honest with you, as a gadget guy and as an entrepreneur being all over the place, I probably didn't do my business plan as I should have when I started. But I'm going to recommend that if someone is not in a position where they're not doing a business plan, at least have something written down, some sort of a guide.
What about facing competition?
I think with competition, given the word competition, these are people that are going to compete with you. What should they be aware of with respect to competition? It's probably not a bad idea to know who your competition is, but I think sometimes what will happen is someone will be looking specifically at who competes with them in their market and with their product, not realizing that, for example, if they're in the music business. If someone is in the music business, for example, their competition is not only other artists or other venues, but it's also other organizations and other products and services that are competing for the entertainment dollar. And I think sometimes that's something that people forget. The other thing is often, and I have to admit I did this myself in my early days in business, is I was so focused on the competition. I was so worried about what they were doing that often I wasn't paying enough attention to what was going on right in front of me. It's almost like becoming obsessed. You need to be careful with that.
How do you improve cash flow?
Cash flow is absolutely critical. If you don't have the cash, make sure that you can find credit. And no matter how much you budget an extra 10%. That's probably my recommendation.
What about managing inventory?
Inventory is a really difficult thing, especially having been in computer retail business, because when I share with people about computer retail, the story I say is that we buy it for $1 today and we're selling it tomorrow for 90 cents. And so not only sometimes with technology changing, well, the old story, right? The Technology Museum had last year's models. Now the Technology Museum has yesterday's models. And so not only are you trying to make a profit, but you're even trying to recover things, which can sometimes be very difficult. It's really critical that you monitor your sales. Find out, for example, if you're in a business that's cyclical. If, let's say, the majority of your business is in the summer, well, then you make sure that you're going to have a little bit more inventory. That's something that turns over very easily. Or be in a position where, yes, you can certainly blow it out if you want to. It's critical that you monitor that, because at the end of the day, when you're looking at sometimes people will say, oh, I made so many dollars on the products that I sold. But what they don't realize is that the inventory that's sitting in the back is quickly depreciating, so that you may have been able to get 20% profit this time, but if you don't sell that inventory quickly, next time you'll have a 20 or 30% loss.
How can you maximize profitability?
I think that the average person might say, well, I want to try to make as much money as I can. Now, making a lot of money depends on what costs. I think what you might want to try to do is set a goal and see how much that realistically that you want to make, or realistically you can make. Because you might say, well, I'm working 10 hours a day. Well, I want to be more profitable, so I'm going to work 15 hours a day. But that is something that can actually take a toll on your life. So you want to try to see how much you really realistically want to make. In a perfect world, you could say, well, I'm going to work 8 hours a day. I'm going to make this much money. I'm going to be happy. If I need to make more money, then I'll have to work that much harder or be able to reduce my costs of some sort.
How do you master technology?
Well, what they should know, first of all, is that Murphy's Law, there's that Murphy guy, the product will fail at the worst moment. That's number one. The second thing is back up, back up, back up. And the third thing is back up, back up, back up. I think as an entrepreneur, especially for a solopreneur, is even if that individual is very knowledgeable about technology, I think that they need to make sure that they have somebody working on it for them. They have to ask themselves whether or not that is their best and most effective use. In fact, my mentor that we talked about in the previous session, one of the things he said to me, he pulled me aside one day after coming in and seeing me talking to the staff and things like that. I actually had my hands on one of the computers because a customer had a problem and they needed it done over lunchtime and our service guy was out. He said, Greg, he said, you have to decide whether you're going to use a pencil or a screwdriver. You can't use both. That's one of the things that he said to me, and I never forgot that. And so at that point, I realized that I had to become less of a technician and more of a leader. And I think they talk about something of that nature. I believe it's in the book E-Myth, or E-Myth Revisited, about the lady who made the apple pies. And I think that she had to be less of the chef and more of the leader, the person who inspires. And I think that's absolutely critically important. The other thing you want to make sure is that you buy some decent equipment, decent technology, and also test things before you make them go live.
How do you expand and develop your network?
That's an interesting one because I hear often from people that I do all my business online. I don't really need to network. I think networking is absolutely critical. For one, we're still human. Okay, we need that touchy-feely stuff. Well, we won't go there, but we need a face-to-face communication. And when was the last time you ate online, Jim? Right? You need a face-to-face communication, and I think it's a good opportunity to meet people, share experiences, share thoughts, offer some guidance, because you never know. You can meet someone at an event that could be a potential business customer, it could be an associate, or it could be something that you've got so much experience. You meet someone that's starting up for the first time and you want to share that. I remember we had a Toastmaster, we had a networking event for Toastmasters, and of course our club being primarily entrepreneurs and new entrepreneurs, I remember at the break that one of the young ladies came up to me asking me questions that were like, oh my God, these are things that I haven't thought about since I started 20 years ago. So it's also an opportunity to give back and to share. And you just never know. These things typically don't go unnoticed.
Greg Gazin, the Gadget Guy. Thanks for your time, Greg.
My pleasure, Jim.
If you have questions about business success or other things to move forward with your organization, drop us a note and we'll get back to you with information to help you move forward. For ProVision Solutions Inc. and the Business Success blog, thanks for watching.